Good morning. I'm Rosemary DiTrolio, and you're listening to The Lightwalker's Path. It's a place to develop new insights, find your soul's purpose, hear enlightening conversation, and be inspired. Hi there. I'm Rosemary. I'm the host of The Lightwalker's Path, streaming live on multiple platforms. Join me every Tuesday at 10 Eastern to develop new insights, find your soul's purpose, and to listen to fascinating guests and interesting information and discussions that can inspire you. You can find all the replays on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcast, and many streaming platforms. And also, I double list it on my own website after a show airs. So, my wonderful guest today is The Joy of Being Well, Mary Crawford. She has methods to release trapped energy, assist shifts through tapping, dowsing, nutrition, energy work, and guidance. Mary also works with your pets and can do animal communication. And I've worked with Mary before, and I know her from my Alignable Business Group, and she's awesome. So I'd like to welcome Mary Crawford to the show. Hi, Mary.
Everyone. Hi, Rosemary.
We made it. I'm so excited to see you today. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. It's summer in Wisconsin.
Oh, there you go. There you go. It's been pretty summery here too in New Jersey. So I
Mhm.
usually start my program and ask if when you were a child, did you have some sort of connection, spiritual gift, or some sort of awareness early that later in life you had developed? So I always ask that because I find it very interesting.
Okay. Well, I always start by when people ask me this, I tell them I grew up in a Catholic family and I spent 12 years in Catholic school.
Oh,
So,
oh,
talking, yeah,
I get it.
you know, yeah, talking about this kind of thing, I mean, you would never mention past lives or anything like that because that was not allowed.
Right.
However, it was one of those situations where we have to go to mass every morning before class. And
Oh,
I would sit there and I would talk to Mary. I'd
oh, I love
be
that.
having these conversations with Mary and just totally ignoring everything else that was going on. So, and I thought, why not? This is more fun. So
Oh,
I've
that's
always
great.
had a affinity. I think, they used to my family used to call me Mother Mary because they would give me babies to hold and the babies would stop crying. And, so,
Oh, I love
um,
that.
it's just one of those things where I've always just had that, been able to read energy and not really know that that was any weird thing. So,
Uh, I love that. I have also have a very strong connection to Mother Mary. In fact, I have like the blue roses in my healing room. I have a picture of her holding her hand out, and I've always had this connection because of I guess the mothering influence of the loving compassion. So
yeah.
that's really interesting. Yeah. Yeah. So Catholic school. Oh, I'm so sorry. Not to douse. I mean, I'm Roman Catholic, but I went to public school. My friend went to Catholic school, and I know it was like you can't say this, you can't say that. It
Mhm.
kind of is a very different environment to learn than I experienced. So I do know that a lot of people get shut down with that kind of background.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry to say. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. So
It's
when
been a
did you start
journey,
develop?
right? But
What's that?
I just said it's been a journey, and every challenge you face makes you stronger. It's part of your story, right?
Yeah, and I think it's important. I think that it just gives you a different insight into things, and then also an understanding for people that haven't been able to share their gifts or their mission because of the way they're raised or religious reasons. It helps with us when we help our clients.
Mhm.
Um, so when did you start developing what you do now? I know that you've had a long journey of
Mhm.
healing. So what was kind of like your first step for healing work that you had delved into?
Yeah, well, I have a background in special education. I worked with hearing impaired kids and kids with learning disabilities, and
Mm,
um, that really got me involved in nutrition. I worked
mm,
with several different nutrition companies. Always been involved with healing. I actually sold children's books for a long time too. But when my youngest son developed pretty weird illness. We couldn't figure out what was wrong with him, and no doctors could diagnose anything. We went to this really unique pediatrician who had traveled the world, and she got really tired of all the kids that were dying in hospitals. So she traveled the world and studied Eastern medicine. And she was a master dowser. She used a lot of energy healing techniques. And we started working with her, completely reversed what was going on with my youngest, and some things that were going on with my husband as well. And she told me, she said, Mary, you should be doing this. And so I studied dowsing. I really got into it. I became a master dowser. I now teach dowsing classes. So such an incredible, easy tool that anybody can learn. And I started studying different energy modalities and found out that I could combine the two and be able to read bodies very quickly and find out what the body really wants. And that evolved in I think it was 2000 that I actually started my business. And yeah, went from there.
So I have a question about dowsing because that's something that's always fascinated me. I did teach pendulum for a while, with the the safety in that. But I use my body as a dowsing tool. But I
Mhm.
know there's other ways. Like my father, I remember years ago, he had these two sticks and he's running across the lawn trying to water witch, and our neighbor found a well in his backyard. Exactly. With the
Mhm.
sticks, I have those as well, but he used the sticks. My neighbor found a huge well in his yard, water witching. So that's kind of my first understanding of what dowsing was back when I was a little girl.
Mhm.
So what tools, that looks like one of your go-tos. What tools do you
Yeah,
use when you douse? What do you use? Because I'm really curious about it.
I mostly use a pendulum.
Mm-hmm.
And I have charts. I have a chart that I use. Oops,
Okay.
my chart.
Yeah.
um, but the way I teach it, I teach all the tools. I teach
Yes.
the rods and the bobbers and the pendulums and
Your
muscle
body.
testing and body lean, the lean technique. I teach all of that in my beginning dowsing class because I want you to have lots of options. And the thing is, when you study the techniques and learn all of these different options, you can take a book full, a list of, like, oftentimes I'll go through my essential oil list and I'll be able to just go bing, bing, bing down the list and tell you what oil your body wants right now. Um,
Right.
and with the charts, I can get percentages, I can get numbers, I can get positive and negative. I have
Mm-hmm.
a technique where I go through over 200 different foods and give you the exact percentage of benefit for each of those foods for your body. And I'm getting that information directly from your body. So,
That's fascinating. Yes. Yeah, I that always amazes me. Like I know when I go to the food store or when I go to buy a supplement, I'll usually do the contact thing. I'll hold it here, and then I'll see if my body sways yes or no. And
mhm,
that's how I've done like a lot of my supplements and medications.
mhm,
And it's just amazing that your body has this wisdom that we can tap into, and that these skills to teach to help people find what's right for them. So
yeah.
that's a wonderful, wonderful skill. So how many years have you been doing dowsing? I know you said since 2000 or many years.
Well,
How many
that's
years?
when I started my business. So probably 10 years before that. So it's been a while. So,
Yeah, yeah. Oh, that's great. So,
yeah.
what are some of the, you said you helped your son with some conditions and your husband, the lady with the dowsing. Is there a client that really stands out in your mind that you've used some skills with that really had a significant change? I'm sure you've had so many of them, but can you think of
Yeah.
one that really sticks with you?
There's one that one of my very first clients came to me because she had been suffering with fibromyalgia for 15 years, and
Mm,
um, the doctors hadn't been able to help her. She didn't want to be taking all the medications, and
mm-hmm.
she had 3 sessions with me, and just said, "Okay, I'm good. I'm done. I'm back to normal." So it,
That's
yeah, we have all these buried beliefs that are so strong. Have you read Biology of Belief,
oh, I love
Dr.
that.
I
Bruce
know,
Lipton.
Dr.
That's one of
Bruce
my
Lipton?
favorites.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's amazing.
When that book came out, I grabbed it really quick and I'm like, okay, this explains exactly what I do. Because
Everything.
I talk to
Yes.
cells, and I and having and knowing that every cell in your body has intelligence and is listening to your thoughts and your beliefs, um, makes you really sit back and think, well, what am I telling my cells?
Oh,
What's
yes.
what story am I telling my cells? Am I telling my cells you're not good enough? Am I telling my liver, well, you're just failing, you're doing a terrible job, you're making me sick? Or, can I change that and say, thank you, liver, you're working so hard, you're getting rid of all this poison in my body, and I really
Yeah,
appreciate you. It can change the way your body functions. So,
absolutely. Yeah, I love his information, and I've also there's I'm drawing a blank on his name here, but he healed his whole spinal cord after he was hit. He's a doctor, but he healed himself
Joe
just through
Dispenza,
mind. There you go. He's
yeah,
amazing too. It's like after I
yeah,
read that, I'm like, what incredible mind power to be in pain and then be able to change your
yeah,
biology by your thoughts. And
right.
when you're in pain and I try to do that, I'm like, wow, the body's hurting right now. He must have incredible mind power to be in such pain when that happened to him and then still, train his body to heal. I thought that was such an incredible story. Really
He is
incredible.
an incredible person. And what
Yes.
we know about pain is that the best thing you can do is to feel it, because
Yeah.
we tend to push it away. And
Yeah.
when you push it away, it's like pain is always your body trying to talk to you. You don't
Yes.
get to pain until you've ignored all the other signals that came before the pain. So,
That's true.
so
Yes.
if you actually get to pain or dis-ease, it's because you haven't been paying attention to what
Yeah.
your body really wants. My body wants a different food. My body wants more water. My body wants different kind of exercise. My body wants you to think different thoughts. You know, if you're not
Yes.
paying attention to that, then you finally get pain, and pain makes you sit up and take notice, right?
Right.
So,
It ignore. Yeah,
right,
that and
yeah.
illness. I found that with a lot of people,
Hmm.
if they reach a point where they're really sick, many of them will start a spiritual path or just do what they were maybe supposed to be doing that their
Hmm.
path has taken, they went free will took them away from what they need to be doing. And in
Hmm.
order to get back, they have to kind of walk through that. So, yeah, I agree with you there. So I know you use many techniques. So you use dowsing for your clients.
Hmm.
Um, I know you also use tapping and other EFT, is it? Or is that
EFT
EFT
is
tap?
tapping, yeah.
Yeah.
Emotional freedom technique. That's
Yes.
that is amazing, an amazing tool. I love working, especially with people who've had trauma in their life,
Yep. Yep.
because trauma is just a memory that we keep reliving, right?
Yes.
And,
Yes.
and what happens with tapping or EFT is that you can have the memory, but the emotional charge is gone. So
Yes.
it's that emotional charge, because it's like when you watch a scary movie, your conscious, your subconscious doesn't know the difference between reality and fiction.
Right.
So you will sweat, you will cry, you will get your cortisol will jump in, all of these different
Yeah.
reactions as if you were actually there in that scary movie experiencing it, which is the thrill of why we do it, right? Because we want to feel all those things. However, let's say a 3-year-old watches a scary movie and has nightmares,
Mm,
because they are at that age where they can't really distinguish between fiction and nonfiction, and their subconscious keeps bringing up that memory and triggering all those feelings. What happens with tapping is we are able to get to the underlying emotions and
hmm.
neutralize them really
Yes.
fast, and so that you can remember it and not be afraid.
I often think about how realistic the filming is now. So you like when I'm watching something, they can fool you. You don't know if you're watching something real or fake. So then I think of, okay, are children watching this, and how do they distinguish? At up to the age of 7, they really can't.
Mhm.
Their brain is just wired to suck everything in, and that's
Right.
like, oh my gosh, what are they seeing? What are they doing? And
Right.
I'll think about that with children.
Hmm.
What are some of the advices that you would give to parents that have children, I know what I would do, being a parent too, but what advice would you give as a healer and someone that knows this thing about children? What would you tell them?
So you want to help that child remember how powerful they are. You
I
want
love
to help them remember that they are in control of their life and that they
Mhm.
have incredible gifts and skills. Have you seen the videos of like a little 3 or 4 year old standing in front of the mirror every morning before they go to school and saying, "You are beautiful. You
You
are
are
wonderful.
awesome.
You are powerful. You're going to have a great day." You
I
know,
love that.
that
Yes.
is a parent who's got it together. That's a parent who
Uh-huh.
knows how important, and it's, we think of that, okay, that's just positive reinforcement, that's just, positive affirmations, but to a child, when they're
Yeah,
saying those things, they're feeling them.
they're
They're
feeling.
That's real. Yeah.
I
So the more you can do that, the better.
I agree with you. And, I'm a former teacher as well, and I had a lot of special ed kids in my classrooms in the years. And one of the things we used to do is start the day with an intention, like we're
Mhm.
going to have a beautiful day, people are friendly, we're smiling. So the intention really sets the tone. And that's something I've carried into each morning. I set an intention, and each night I kind of review my day. So I think it's really powerful for kids to know that they have that in their wheelhouse to use. The thing
Mhm.
that really I think about is, sometimes I hear, let's say my husband or other people saying, well, I was raised so strict and we're seen and not heard. And like to me, that's so dangerous because the child doesn't feel they have a decision or they can pick this clothing over that clothing or they're doing
Mhm.
something wrong. And it's just really, it's sad to me to see kids being shut down in that way,
Mhm.
you know?
Yeah, one of the things, one of the processes I use is a little child technique where we are going back in and we are actually pulling out that 3 or 4, 6 year old child and having a conversation with them. And
Mhm.
I know a lot of people are doing this, and I just love it because when we give that little child compassion for what they're experiencing, um, that's important. But the next step is to help them know, first of all, how strong they are,
Mhm.
how many gifts they have, and that they are completely supported. So
Yes.
supported. And I always close that with having them maybe sit on the lap of the adult version of themselves and
I love
encompass
that.
them with the wings of an angel, so that they're
Yes.
in this big angel hug, and let them know that the angel is always with them and they're always supported and they're never alone. Even though they might feel completely alone in a very dysfunctional family, they're not
Mhm.
alone. They're being
That's
supported.
perfect. I know when I teach long distance Reiki in the second level, we do the same. We bring a photograph of ourselves as a child, we hold it to our heart, we bring
Mhm.
back pieces that we've lost through the years, and then we heal it and put that inner child back in with the agreement we're going to care for you and love you. And
Mhm.
that's really powerful. And it's really interesting what people find out about themselves through that process. I went
Yes.
back on my own and it's like, oh my God, I didn't realize I was so affected. My sister died when I was a kid, and I held that pain, and I didn't realize I was holding it for my family. It wasn't necessarily for me because I was so young, but I held it to protect mom and dad. And
Mhm.
I had to be happy because I was protecting mom and dad. And then I
Mhm.
carried it into my life. Then you become a people pleaser, and then you don't want to
Mhm.
talk up, and then you have to unlearn everything that you messed up along the way. So,
Yeah,
so it's,
yeah,
yeah. So I've learned a lot through that process as well.
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm fascinated too with your animal work because I know that you've worked with my pets and you've told me a lot about Sky and my other dog who's now deceased, Rainy. And now I have a new one, little Tina. She's a little hellier. And you've helped me a lot with understanding what they needed. So when you tap into an animal's wisdom or energy field, do you see, is it pictures? Is it body awareness for you? Is it hearing a voice? What processes are you going through when you're tapping in with that animal's energy field?
It's kind of all of those, because it really
Okay.
depends on the animal. If
Okay.
they're in pain, I might go right to a body feeling. I might go
Mhm.
right to, okay, we need to look at the left. rear paw and find out what's going on there. Um,
Hmm.
is there something physical going on, or is there an emotional thing? I've worked with animals who have been through traumas. I worked with one dog who was afraid to go downstairs, and this was a big dog, and they had to carry the dog down the stairs every time they went down. And it
Uh,
turned out, as a puppy, the dog had fallen down some steps, and
uh,
we we worked to neutralize that fear and that trauma energy that the dog was feeling, and it was fine after that. So yeah, sometimes they come to me. Oftentimes, though, I have to tell you, it's not their issue that's the problem, it's the people.
mm,
and
yes.
and they're human. Dogs come to us because they want to help us. They
Mm,
have these big loving hearts, and they want to help us. And and for dogs, for instance, they carry your emotions, they take them on, they try to hold them for you. And if they get outside a lot, they can send it down to the ground. But if they don't get outside enough, they're holding it and holding it and holding it until they get sick.
I
Cats.
agree with that. As a dog owner too, they need that connection with the earth outside.
Mhm.
And even my old dog, she'll take her little quick loop around the yard, but not too far. She doesn't want to be away from the food dish or her place where she sleeps because she's old now. But she'll just do a little loop and then come back in, and that's her big outing for the day. Just enough
Mhm.
so she feels good. The little one, she never gets enough. She loves being outside.
Mhm.
She'll go up to the old dog, and the little one thinks she's the alpha girl now. So she'll go up, she'll try to steal something from Sky, or she'll bop her on the nose and run because she wants her
Mhm.
to play. And the older
Mhm.
dog's like, "Come on, just want to sleep here."
Yeah,
But yeah,
yeah,
it's so
yeah.
funny how they have these personalities and purposes. So the little one, her purpose is to make us laugh. The older
Mhm.
one is teaching us patience because she's old and cranky. And
Mhm.
our other dog that we lost taught us open-hearted joy and love for everything. She was
Mhm.
just such a joyful dog.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, I know they all teach us something. So you work with all kinds of pets, right? Like
Yeah.
horses, cats,
Horses,
lizards.
horses, birds, cats for sure. Did I tell
Hmm.
you the cat story about the picture? Do
No, let me hear.
you, sorry. So, a client came to me with the fact that this cat kept knocking a painting off the wall in her husband's office, and they were art collectors. So these were all
Oh,
original pieces of art. And you know that when an artist paints a picture, they're putting part of their soul into that picture.
their energy, yes.
And yes, and so this was not a good painting. It was not. It had very dark energy. When I checked into the cat, the cat just said, "Get it out of here. It's evil. Get it out of here. It's evil."
Oh,
And,
wow.
and I'm like, okay. So I checked with the painting. The painting turned out to be a portal for dark energy to come into the house.
Oh, I'm getting
I know.
chills.
I know.
Oh,
And
gosh.
so we closed the portal. We cleared the energy of the painting, and after that, the cat left it alone completely.
Isn't that?
And yeah, I ended up going through that person's house and clearing like 15 other paintings that
Oh,
because they
wow.
were art collectors and they had all of these paintings. So
Yeah.
thinking about what you bring into your house, what is the message in that painting? What is the picture of it? So
Yeah. That's why I sage antiques in anything I buy because when I was a kid, my mother loved going to antique stores and I would get the willies. I'd go in and I'd be feeling like really like I had to clean
I know
myself.
I don't do antique stores at all.
So I have a hard time if I do go in, I don't touch anything. And if
Mhm.
I do see something I really love, I won't bring it in my house till I've saged it and blessed it. And then it
Mhm.
goes in. Even in like my healing office, it's kind of small. So I have a couple pieces that I put in there, but I made sure that they were clear before they went into my
Yeah,
space.
and
Because saging is
carry your
important.
crystals and your stones with you when you go in there, right?
Yeah, yeah, onyx is my go-to. You have is that tourmaline that you have there?
Yeah. This is not tourmaline. This is a really unusual.
I
I
love
can't
that. That's a black
remember the
stone
name of it,
though.
but it's very
Yeah.
powerful. This is my stone that I use when I'm clearing. And why is the camera?
That's great. Yep. I have
It's
I Is that Shuganite? I have Shuganite and
I
I
have
have a
sugarnight
selenite
too.
wand. Yeah.
Sugarnight is one of the best. I actually have some of that upstairs. This is snowflake obsidian.
Okay, obsidian is a good grounding stone too, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. There's certain ones I can't use hematite at all because of the metal in it. Something about it, I just makes me feel weird. But I pick stones the same way that you probably do your oils or whatever. I feel the energy over it, and I'm
Hmm.
I'm energetically drawn or repelled by certain things. So when I
Hmm.
go even rock shopping, I'll kind of like glaze my hands over it and see, okay, this one's got live energy. This one feels dead. Just like
Hmm.
food, food can be dead
Totally.
or right.
Totally.
So yeah,
Sometimes they need to
that's
be
that's
cleared, right? Oh,
yeah.
while we're
That's
talking about stones, I just have to show you this one really quick.
let me see.
Um,
Oh wait, turn this put this way. Oh, that's so pretty. It almost
so
looks like it's got Jesus in there in the middle of a flower
I
or a
think
cross.
I see it as an archangel with a sword.
Oh yeah, there it is. I see it. It's beautiful.
Isn't that fun?
Beautiful. And that's the natural
It's
image in the stone. That's
a
beautiful.
natural stone. Yeah.
Yeah. Years ago, I was, well, I'm a gardener, right? So I have an organic garden and I was growing a watermelon and it was a little sugar baby. And I found it like, later in the season under a bunch of things. So I cut it open and it had a yellow angel in it with the wings out. And I'm
Wow.
like, how cool is this? So I actually photographed it and kept the picture for one of my books because I figured nobody would ever believe it. Jesus on toast or an
Yeah.
angel in a
Right.
watermelon. It was just
Right.
one of those funny things. But
Yeah.
yeah, that was awesome.
I
Okay,
love that.
so just checking the time. There's gonna be a break in like a minute or so. So I just want to give you a heads up if I interrupt you. So as far as foods for people, we only have 1 minute. So foods for people, we're going to come back to your how you check people on that in another minute. So we're going to have a sponsor break. This is the Lightwalker's Path. My guest today is Mary Crawford, the joy of being well, and she's a joyful guest, and I'm so excited to have her back. So don't go away if you're listening in. We'll be right back. Hi there. Welcome back. This is Rosemary DeTrolio on the Lightwalker's Path. Grow Your Spirit with Rosemary. And my guest is Mary Crawford. And we were talking about ways that we use energy. And Mary has an interesting technique that she uses when she finds out what foods are good for you and what helps your body. So I'd like you to mention that special offer, Mary, that you have, and also how you would check somebody for their nutritional foods that are good for them. So just reiterate that again for everybody.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm a dowser, and what I do is I check in with your body and get information directly from your body. So I have a list of over 200 foods that I put together, and I will send you the list so that you can print it out. And when we connect on the phone or Zoom, we go through that list and I check every single item on that list and give you a percentage of benefit of that food for your body. It could be 100% positive, it could be 30% negative. But you will come away from that having a really clear picture of what your body's asking for at this moment in time. So
Very
that's called the nutrition scan. You'll
nutrition.
find it on my website, which is thejoyofbeingwell.com. It's the joy of being well. People often reverse those words, thejoyofbeingwell.com.
Uh-huh.
And also, when you go there, if you just click on schedule and you'll see energy work, the first thing that comes up is a free discovery call that you can book with me just to get kind of an overview of how I work and if this might be good for you.
Wonderful. That's awesome. Yeah, I just sent over the website address. That's great, Mary. So when you work with a client, do you ever feel yourself that you've either collected their energy in your body or you need grounding or clearing yourself? And if so, what are your best techniques for clearing and grounding your own body after you've worked with your clients?
Okay. Well, let me back up and say before I work with my clients, I
Mm-hmm.
always ground myself. I always get connected to the earth just with intention. You can just say I'm connecting to the earth now. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then I say I'm balancing my chakras. And I can
Mm-hmm.
feel like my body will do that lean technique. Root chakra,
Right.
if I'm going
Right.
backwards and work on it a little bit, move until it goes
Yes.
forward. And I go through all the chakras and connect. My heart line is straight and through the ID point. I'm surrounded by the golden light, and I'm
Mhm.
asking my guides and angels to only bring me truth and nothing but
Love
truth.
that.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Then, after I work with a client, I've learned that if I just bend over and put my hands on the ground and send their energy down to the earth, it's instant. I'm completely cleared of that energy. So,
That's perfect. Yeah, it's very similar because, well, I do like a prayer of intention before I work with a client. I also clear myself. After I do a session, I'll either immediately shower and imagine the energy flowing off, or I'll sit outside and the same like you, I'll kind of like lay down or put my hands down or my feet and clear that energy. And that's been really a godsend because when I was new, like back in 96, 97, occasionally I would hold, let's say, a body pain that someone had, and I knew it wasn't my pain. I knew it was their pain. And I had to consciously practice to get rid of whatever I had collected. So that's another thing as healers, like I've taught my clients that are Reiki people, I taught them how to do that because people are sensitive and they don't realize how much they collect from other people and how it affects us. Yeah.
what's really interesting is that the children that are coming to the planet right now are such sensitive empaths, all of them,
Yes.
that they're being overwhelmed a lot of
Oh, yeah.
times. That's why when we see things like autism and
Oh,
ADHD,
yeah.
it's these kids being overwhelmed because they're highly, highly sensitive. There's nothing wrong with them. They're just more advanced than the rest of us. They're just
Yes.
these beautiful spirits. And so my purpose right now, I work so much with these kids. I've found some physical products that really help them to detox the heavy metals and the chemicals out of their bodies, but then
Mhm.
helping them to remember that they don't have to hold on to other people's energy is really important too.
Yeah, it's interesting. I've done readings and worked with kids with autism. And what I found is that you, like you said, they're coming in on such a high frequency. It's like they're on a different band of energy. And here they are now, born into this very dense earth, and they're like their circuits are frying because they can't, get down to the dense level of earth because they did come in as clearers or spiritual guides or teachers. I know years ago I had a friend of mine that she had a son who's now an adult, and he was a very spiritually gifted kid. And he came in with this very intense message, and he's still doing that work. But it's
Mm-hmm.
it's really interesting to see that these kids with special needs have special abilities as well.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something we have to remember when we meet children and we say, "Oh, they're different." Well, maybe they're supposed to be because we need different right now. We
And
can't
they
do the same
chose
thing.
that. Yeah,
Yes,
that was their choice to come in with
right.
that really high frequency so that
Yeah,
they could learn to adapt to our frequency and help other people like them.
right. The
Or
Atlanteans. Yes.
who knows? Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Who knows
Do
what
you
planet they came from?
absolutely. Do you find that like when you're working with clients too, that you get strong past life connections as far as blocks that they may have? Because I find that when I'm doing readings or Reiki, that sometimes a block was a past life block that they've had that they're carrying through to clear.
Mhm.
Have you found that with your
Yes,
clients?
absolutely. Past life. A lot lately has been ancestral energy, though.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
a
Okay.
lot of ancestral energy coming up right now for us to clear. Traumas that our great great grandparents experienced during the wars,
Yeah.
or famine, or the depression, or that not enough, and that money trauma
Oh
from
yeah.
depression era. But even
Yes.
going way back, how many times were you a slave, or
Yes.
a monk, or a nun? or, you know
Yes. Yes. Me
so
apparently several times.
me too, me too.
But I've had both. I've had like, woo, the opposite too.
I
But I
have
had
too.
such a strong pull with like, you're not supposed to take money, everything's free, you have to be in service. And then you're like, you knock yourself out. You're not realizing that you're doing it until
Mhm.
something like clicks in there, like, oh, it was a poverty vow I took. I want to get
Yeah,
rid of that now. I don't need that now.
yeah,
So
I
yeah,
know.
there's a lot. Yeah.
It's a lot, and and we don't need to keep it, and it's not that hard to clear. So yeah,
Yeah.
let's get it
Yeah.
clear.
I think what's cool about the ancestral clearing too is it doesn't only help the past, but it helps your ancestors that you
Yeah.
will have in the future because there's no time. It's backward forward. And I
Mhm.
think that that's really interesting to know that when someone is working on themselves and they're clearing issues within their body, they're also helping their ancestral line,
I
backward
know.
and
I tell people that, and when I'm doing this work and we're clearing ancestral stuff, I often see the ancestors gathered around and cheering. It's like
oh, that's
they're here and they're
beautiful.
like, "Yay! Finally,
That's
finally
beautiful.
somebody's clearing us."
Yes.
So
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah, so you see visions, and do you see, do you also see like stuck energy, like ghost energy, or people that haven't crossed over yet or that are stuck? Do you also
Mhm.
experience that? I get the feeling of it more than the visual for that. But I also know if I go in an older building, I can feel like a ghost energy or stuck energy that should be cleared.
I mostly get the feeling of that. Sometimes I actually talk. They talk to me as well. So
Mm.
so it's audio and just feelings. There was one time I cleared a house, a really old house here in Madison, and um, the house was almost crying for joy.
Uh,
It was interesting. It was so, it just kept saying thank you, thank you, thank you,
uh,
and I'm like, I had no idea that this is possible. You know, that houses could be so sad with all the dark energy that was stuck there. But
it's
everything has consciousness, right?
Yeah, I had a friend of mine. She says, "Can you just do a walkthrough of my new old house and tell me what you think?" And I'm like, "I don't know. I guess so." So I did it, and again, I got incredible information on the person that lived there. I got, they had his hat in the closet, and he was attracted to a certain part of the room, and she verified everything, which was really interesting. The other thing too is that I walked through, my own place when I bought it, and I have a carriage house, like an old, it's where my office is now. And when I
Mhm.
moved there, my son would not go up there. My husband would not go up there. My cousins who are male would not go up there. And what I realized, there was this stuck woman that had this like black outfit on, and she was still pining for her husband who left her. And
Mm.
her energy was kind of nasty. So I went up there and with a friend of mine, and we cleared it and we sent her away. And that's not what I do for my business. I don't do ghost clearing and stuff like that. But I had to get rid of her because I wanted to use the room for healing. And she
Sure.
did leave. And now the
Good.
room feels completely different. But it's
Yeah,
very strange how, the energies that we carry and we hold can imprint rooms and places,
absolutely.
and you can feel it. Yeah.
Feel it as soon as you walk in the room.
Yes. And I find too, even in homes, when you've had discord in a home, it carries that imprint of distress or an argument you had or a guest that came in. And that's
Hmm.
another reason why it's important to clear our spaces, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, I'd like to know if there is some kind of opportunity you had or some unique expression of something that happened to you that changed the way you thought. And we're going to come back to that because we have a break coming up. But that's what I'm going to ask you right after the break. And this is the what Lightwalker's Path. I want you to think about a situation that changed something for you. And we'll be right back. Welcome back. This is the Lightwalker's Path, and my guest is Mary Crawford. And we were just talking about situations in our lives that might have spurred us or taught us something that helped us work with our clients. So, if you want to share something, Mary.
Sure. Well, the thing that comes to mind is, so I grew up, as I mentioned before, in a pretty isolated situation. Even when I went to college, I was still living at home and
Okay.
taking the bus to campus. So um, when I got married, we moved down to North Carolina from Wisconsin, and I had no family. I had, I was completely on my own. Um, I had my first son down there, and um, what was interesting is when that marriage ended, I had a 3-year-old. Maybe he was only like 2. No, he was almost 3, and
Something.
I had him alone with no job and no family around. I had some friends. I had some really good friends down there. But what I learned about the power that I actually had and the independence that I actually had that I had never had a chance to really
Yeah.
explore or experience before. It was so eye opening. I remember even simple things like my car needing service and going to the service station and asking the guy if I could watch while he fixed it so that I could learn how to do it myself. And he was
Mm-hmm.
like, yeah, sure. And he showed me how to fix it, you know? And
Yeah.
so things like that, you become so empowered when you are put into these situations, these challenges in life where you don't have anybody else to call on and you have to face it yourself. You have to
Yeah.
be the hero of your own story and you have to see what is possible for you. And I've had
Yeah.
so many of those challenges as we all have in our life. And it's very empowering to do that.
We have something in common there. See, I was raising a baby. My son was 6 months old when my husband left, my first husband, and we divorced when he was under two, probably because of the timing. But
Mhm.
I was single for 9 years before I remarried, and that was a time when I was probably 29. But it's like you go from your home to being married, and you don't get that
Mhm.
independent feeling. So again,
Yeah,
I learned how to be a strong woman and speak up, and that all things I should have learned, but I didn't, in the same time frame. So I really understand that story. And then also, having different friends, and then you lose the ones when you were married because you're married together, friends that you knew, and then you have to make new people. But I think
mhm.
it's all about finding your tribe, like finding your group of healers or people that get you. And I think that's powerful. And a lot of people in their 20s, 30s, and 40s are just figuring that out. Like, where are my people? Where
Yeah.
are who I am now, and how can I grow that?
And I think it's
So that
harder now because we're so
yeah.
disconnected, you know?
Yes. And I think everything's so fast now. You Google something in 3 seconds, you have an answer. Or you swipe left or right. That's what these kids are doing to meet people. Rather than
Mhm.
meeting them and getting the information and the vibe from them, they're just going on like what that person's face looks like. Probably the
Right.
worst way ever, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So a lot of these youngsters coming in now need direction, and they're all coming around. So
Mhm.
yes. So what are some things that you would give as some advice that you give your clients, either about pet ownership or about how they are progressing? What would be some words of advice that you give your clients, or is there some kind of go-to for you?
Well, let me go to instead a technique that I always make sure that my clients are using, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Um,
Sure.
it's the mirror technique. And
Okay.
you probably know what I'm talking about, but um, the first time I did this many years ago, I couldn't do it. I
Mm-hmm.
would burst into tears. But the idea is to look yourself in the eyes in the mirror and say, I completely love you. I really, really love you. And and when you can get to that point where you can walk by any reflection of yourself and immediately feel love and not disgust or hate or um, embarrassment, that's when you have reached your goddess level, your God level.
Mm-hmm.
That's when you have reached that point where you are really in touch with your higher self. Because that's how
Mm-hmm.
your higher self always sees you, as
Yeah.
beautiful, lovable. And
Yeah.
so look in the mirror and tell yourself how beautiful you are. Stand
Mm-hmm.
naked in front of the mirror and tell yourself how beautiful you are. That's hard for some. Whoops,
That's
that's
hard. That
hard.
is hard because I look in the mirror, I'm like, wow, I got my mom's body now. When did that happen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So and
Gosh.
and and if you're a single person, sometimes that's even harder because you don't have anybody else reflecting back to you what they see, you know.
Right. Or it may not be
Um,
positive too. I know a lot of beautiful women that are so judgmental on themselves that they really struggle. Especially, a
mhm,
lot of us have the weight issues as we get older too. And a lot of my
mhm,
beautiful friends are struggling with the same things. And
mhm.
you need to hear that positive encouragement. You don't always hear it from people around you, so you have to give it to yourself, right?
Yeah. And what I've noticed is that when people get to the point where they can walk by even a window reflection of themselves and feel love instead of hate or disgust, their body
Mm-hmm.
starts to change. Their
Yeah.
body, because the cells are listening to your thoughts and your
Yeah.
beliefs,
Oh,
and
that's a
they start
scary
to
thought there,
transform.
Mary. Yes.
They are.
Oh, I
So
didn't mean it.
change
I'm
your thoughts
sorry.
and beliefs, right? It's
Yeah.
so, so important. It's so important, right?
There we go. Yes. So I know that you work with these beliefs, and this is part of the power that you have. So that is beautiful. We have about 2 more minutes. So I'm going to ask you again. I know that your website is now posted up. Is there any other thing that you want to mention that we haven't spoke about that you want to bring up? You have a thought.
I just want to throw this out there. If you are interested in learning how to dowse, you
Mm-hmm.
can go to the website dowsingwithmary.com, and
Beautiful.
it gives you information about dowsing and about, why would you want to do this. And
Yes.
I have taught dowsing to people who sell cars or
I love.
a fitness gym, because they
Yes.
can use it to help their clients, they can use it to help
I love it.
themselves.
Is it a
So
course or a one section? Like, is it a class or a couple of them?
class, there's two different levels of class.
Okay.
So the regular Learn to Douse is everything you need to know about dowsing.
Got
The
it.
second advanced dowsing class, we actually go in there and we change the molecular structure of things.
I love
And we
it.
work with entities, and we work with viruses and all kinds of weird stuff. So,
Beau- Beautiful. Thank you. And I know that we both have discovery sessions for people that want to know what we do. At our website, mine's rosemaryd.com. It's on my Bold Brave TV page if you can check that. And we both offer that as well. So that's a wonderful way to get to know us and to find out if we're a good match for you. So this has been the Lightwalker's Path. Thank you so much for spending the hour. I hope we've both inspired you. Get in touch with Mary or I if you need anything. And find me every week at 10 Eastern, The Lightwalker's Path. Thank you so much, Mary. It's been a pleasure.
thank you, Rosemary. Take care.
Take care. Bye.
I'm
I'm your host, Rosemary DiTrolio, and you've been watching and listening to The Lightwalker's Path. Learn about my workshops, sessions, courses, and more at info@rosemaryd.com. My website, rosemaryd.com, Hands of Light by Rosemary. Have a blessed and beautiful day.